Okay, so I would like to introduce the next speakers, but then I think that we all would like to know if we have protecting factors against COVID-19 infection and blood type O. And my husband is a blood type O, so might be one of them. But could we explain it? So I will introduce two colleagues that who will try to answer that question. Marie Delers is a clinical biologist with a specialization in immunohematology and blood bank. And Valérie Dauby is our engineer, also a medical doctor who is interested by all aspects of our specialties in biology. Both work in our laboratory at HUB ULV. So thank you very much, Marie and Valérie, for the talk.
Hi, everyone. Do you hear me? Do you hear me?
Yes.
Yes? Okay. So now I'm going to talk about the relationship between ABO antibodies and COVID-19. First, as a little reminder, there are four main ABO phenotypes, A, B, AB, and O blood groups, and the immune systems makes antibodies against the ABO antigen that we don't have. For example, people with the A blood group will have anti-B antibodies in their serum. The ABO gene encodes an enzyme that is going to add sugar units into a precursor structure. So the ABO antigens are sugar. The A allele encodes an enzyme that produces the A antigen by adding its sugar. The B allele encodes an enzyme that produces the B antigen. And the O allele encodes an enzyme with no function. So there's going to be neither A or B antigens on the red blood cells. The ABO antigens are expressed obviously on red blood cells, but they can also be expressed on epithelial and endothelial cells, and that's really important for the rest of the talk. Since March 2020, there have been a lot of studies investigating all around the world the relationship between ABO blood groups and SARS-CoV-2 infection. There are some discrepancy between the results, but there is a general trend that people with the O blood group have a lower risk of being infected with SARS-CoV-2, and people with the A blood group have a higher risk of being infected with SARS-CoV-2. There are only two studies showing no significant results. Some of these studies also investigated the relationship between ABO blood groups and COVID-19 severity, with only one of them showing significant results, with O blood group being at a lower risk of death and A blood group being at a higher risk of death. During the first SARS outbreak in 2003 in Hong Kong, a team also showed a similar low risk for blood group O individuals. And at the same time, the team of Jacques Le Pendu in Université de Nantes had the hypothesis that anti-A and anti-B antibodies could have a protective role against SARS-CoV-1. Indeed, infectious viral particles are produced in epithelial cells of the upper respiratory tract, and these cells expressed the ABH antigens. The viral particles are then expected to be tagged with these antigens, with the ABO antigens. The spike protein, which is a ligand for the ACE2 receptor, has glycosylation sites next to the receptor binding domain, so it is expected as well that this S protein will be tagged with the ABO antigen. The team of Jacques Le Pendu showed in a cellular experimental model that the anti-A antibodies could specifically block the interaction between SARS-CoV-1 S protein and its target, the ACE2 receptor. And this finding could also be applied for SARS-CoV-2 because the S protein has similar glycosylation sites and both viruses used ACE2 receptor. So this is to illustrate these findings. Here we can see a virus produced by a blood group individual. So the epithelial cells express the A antigen, so do the viral particles. And if this subject infects a O blood group individual, the anti-A antibodies present in the O blood group individual will bind to the A antigen and block the interaction between the virus and its receptor. So this is the model which has been proposed. The ABO antibodies offer some degree of protection against SARS-CoV-2 infection. For example, people with the O blood group have anti-A and anti-B, so they have some kind of a protection against SARS-CoV-2 infection from individual of A, AB, and B blood groups. And on the other hand, the viral particle produced by O individuals express no ABO antigen, so they can infect without inhibition all individuals, including themselves. This model only works if sufficient levels of ABO antibodies are present. So this is the point we were interested in. We realized a study to test the hypothesis that natural ABO antibodies levels may be lower in patients with COVID-19 compared to control subjects. That was a prospective observational study which was run during the first 3 months of the pandemic in the Hôpital Bruckmann, in the Bruckmann Hospital. And this study was realized in collaboration with the team of Jacques Lependu. We received an ethics committee approval. We included 290 patients with COVID-19, which were symptomatic patients with a positive RT-PCR test. And we also included 276 controls, which were asymptomatic ambulatory patients or hospitalized patients with a negative SARS-CoV-2 RT-PCR test. Our primary outcome was the level of ABO antibodies. So for both groups, we evaluated the level of ABO antibodies by calculating agglutination score according to the reference method from AABB. To do so, we performed serial dilution of patients' plasma with normal saline. We mix each dilution with A or B red blood cells, and we note agglutination reaction score. We continue the dilution until we get no reaction. For each agglutination reaction score, we attributed a value, and the agglutination score is the sum of all value. So for both groups were equalized for age and gender by applying a propensity score analysis because this parameter can influence the level of ABO antibodies, and our data were analyzed by using a linear regression. For all blood groups, we obtained a lower mean agglutination score for COVID-19 patients compared to controls. For A blood group, we also obtained a lower mean agglutination score for COVID-19 patients compared to the control groups. And for B blood group, we obtained the same results. So we can ask ourselves the question, if this lower level only concern ABO antibodies, or is it due to a general decrease of all natural antibodies related to COVID-19 infection? To answer this question, we also evaluated the level of antigen antibodies, which were natural occurring antibodies present in all humans and which are produced in response to environmental stimulation, like ABO antibodies. So we evaluated anti-alpha-gal antibodies, which were assessed by ELISA, and anti-sheep erythrocyte antibodies by measuring agglutination with sheep erythrocytes. Both groups were equalized for age, gender, and ABO blood groups, and we analyzed our results by using linear regression. For both anti-alpha-gal and anti-sheep erythrocyte antibody, we found no significant result between the COVID-19 patients and the controls. So we can say that the lower levels of antibodies seems to only concern ABO antibodies. This was the first study to compare ABO antibodies level between COVID-19 patients and controls. We found that patients with COVID-19 have lower levels of ABO antibodies than the controls. And we found no difference in antigen levels between both groups. So we can say that there is no general reduction in the level of natural antibodies following COVID-19 infection. And we can say that the lower levels of ABO antibodies, which are being found in COVID-19 patients, only concern ABO antibodies. So we suggested that individuals with low levels of natural anti-A and or anti-B antibodies would be at a higher risk of SARS-CoV-2 infection. ABO antibodies are synthesized by immune stimulation from gastrointestinal microbiota. They appear after birth, and the levels vary with changes in diet and bacterial colonization in the intestinal tract. So we could imagine that the role of the gut microbiota is important, and we can also imagine that if we take probiotic supplements, it can increase our levels of ABO antibodies and offer us some protection against SARS-CoV-2 infection. So this should be investigated in further studies. Our study had some limitation. The first one was the small sample size, especially from antigen antibody, because we had to deal with a limited amount of sample. We did not control for underlying comorbidities, and patients with undiagnosed COVID-19 could have been enrolled in the control group because this group was composed of asymptomatic patients and they were not tested for COVID-19. And it should be noted that these are preliminary results that should be confirmed on larger cohorts. So I would like to thank all the team for this study, and thank you for your attention.
Thank you very much, Marie. Are there questions in the room? Okay, I have a question here from the other participants. Have you checked for IgG anti-ABO antibodies?
No, we didn't check for IgG anti-ABO antibodies because we had not enough samples.
Okay, and what about the AB group? What about the AB group, Marie?
Yes, we tested our patients for the ABO antigens. We had higher O blood groups for the COVID-19 patients compared to the general population, but there was no significant results. We have higher O for COVID-19 and lower A. Yes.
Okay.
So
I have a question. So you propose to work on a larger cohort, but would you change your the overall inclusion and exclusion subject or the design of your study?
Sorry, I don't understand your question.
So you propose to be sure that your data could be applied, that you have to go to a larger cohort.
Yes.
So would you like to change the design if you go for a larger cohort?
Yes, maybe it would be interesting to test the controls for COVID-19 to be sure that our controls are COVID-19 negative. And yes. Alan want to say something.
Yes, just to answer the question, we think that there are other antibodies, natural antibodies, also related to other groups that are concerned. So we are going to work with that the unit of NORM, because there is not only anti-E and anti-D antibodies that are involved. For the question of IgG anti-ABO antibodies, I just would like to say that we tested total Ig because the question is whether lower in COVID-19 patients, and as you know, the Ig that are concerned for the protection in this special question is IgA, so that are secretory in the secretion. So that's why we tested Ig, total Ig.
Okay. Another question is, did you confirm more severe COVID-19 for the blood group A COVID-19 patient? I just think that no, as I saw your data.
We did not study the severity.
We have also a database with this data, and they will be analyzed in a second step.
Yes.
And then, what was the proportion of the different ethnies in your study?
We had a small proportion of patients of African origin, but we had not the exact proportion. It was not important because we apply a propensity score for data, so both groups between the controls and the COVID-19 patients were equalized for that.
Okay, thank you very much. I think that there are no more questions. Thank you for your study, Marie and Valérie. I will